Hey guys, thanks for stopping in the next episode of Archer's Garage, and I think this time on the garage we're going to do electrical work on the Simplicity Sunstar. So stay with me. We're just going to sort out a few electrical issues, some things that I saw when I was doing the oil change, and a couple of little things on it. And a quick update is I just had to replace the ignition switch on it. So I'm going to give you guys a quick look at that. It's kind of buried over there, so the switch is just hanging on there. But it works, and I found the right one online, and it wasn't that expensive. You know, they're knockoff products, but there's some things that you just have to deal with. And this one seemed pretty good. So I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Flashback.
I'm gonna go and look at all these wires here, right? All these wires are just like laying about, right? This one of them was up in the fins, so that's never a good thing. So that's another thing we got to do. We also got to check this. This is to the clutch for the PTO.
End of flashback.
All right. So what I want to show here. All right. This here is the canceling plate, right? So it works in combination with this lever here, right, which is your drive control, forward and reverse. Up is forward, reverse is a short throw. So it's your brake, but what it does is it pushes back on the lever. So with the brake forward, all right, you have all this room effectively to move the transmission. Right, now this lever, by the way, is really, I've been lubricating it with chain wax, but we're going to use oil too. It's getting better, but it's very stiff. So let's say it's here. So as you push the brake, watch, it'll push it back. See what I mean? And then it throws it into neutral. So there's a couple of things we want to do. I want to add a washer here on this, and you may not be able to see it yet, but we want to add a washer on that. I want to get that lubed up. If I can get back here, I'll add a washer on that side as well. And then we're going to continue to lubricate, because it's pretty wobbly. It's supposed to be wobbly, but I think it's just a bit too wobbly. And then I want to continue to lubricate it and then see what I can do to get it to move a little bit better. So it definitely feels like it's moving a little better just from a little bit of lubrication. And I'm probably going to take the battery out and get in there even more, right? So I have some things, the reasons why I want to take the battery out tonight before I stop anyway. And this is getting a little bit better. We've been lubricating it. It's getting better. And again, they want oil, motor oil in a lot of this, because it's thicker. Motor oil is an excellent lubricant. I mean, people say, oh, you're going to get dirt in there and everything. Yeah. You know, dry lube for everything. No, not for everything. And, you know, you can follow up with dry lube. And that'll help. That'll definitely make it better. All right. Let me get back to it, and we'll come back and we'll see how it works out. I'll get what I can get to. This, I think this could be tightened up a little bit, although it looks like it already is. Yeah. It's supposed to have some slop. Okay. I think I'll find a washer for that one. I lubricated this. Right, I got to get some lube in there too. I see, might actually want to put a little bit more. It's a test point, but we might want to put a little bit more acid in that. I could see a little bit of copper salts. So here, I managed to get 2 washers in this. And let's see if I can do a reach around to the back side. You know, anything I can do. I want to try to do more of the simple things. We have some more complex repairs coming up, but I'm just trying to kind of get used to it. It's a Monday rather, holiday, Memorial Day. Thank you to all of you veterans out there, however you serve. So I was able to get, this is the speed lever. So I got this side of the joint, and it's much better. Oil and then chain wax. They tell you oil. So I did a lot of oil, and then the chain wax, wiped it a little bit. And I also got the throttle lever up in here. Plenty of chain wax on that, and then this feels nice. Alright, I think that's about it. Alright, there's nothing else in here. We can paint now.
More moments later.
So I did this last time and we put in the solenoid, but now I want to take a look at what's going on with the bow headlight and also the clutch here, right, for the PTO. And I'm going to want to pull a belt off as well. And we want to make sure that this idler pulley is well lubricated. But we need to figure out why the clutch isn't coming on. So there's a couple of things that I know is going on. So I just have my little cheesy test light here, right? So as you can see, it's connected to the battery. And we're going to look to see if we're getting power to a few spots. Now, I'm going to take the test light and I'm going to put the test light on ground. And we need to find a good ground, so we're going to use the motor since we know that's good. I'm just going to check my test light. It works. We're going to flip the switch. I can tell you that this connector is pretty dirty, right off the bat. As a lot of the, pretty much almost all of the connectors are dirty. So it's in neutral, okay, and we should be able to turn the switch on. We're not going to start it, and we should be able to lift up. All right, so it's front PTO on, okay. So that's a good sign. I haven't seen that before, actually. This is the first time, so we should see some power to that circuit. Yep. Okay, so we need to clean this connector. Now, the other thing is we don't know why this isn't coming in, right? So there's actually an adjustment to be made on these things because it's a wafer. It pulls in, and there's 3 points. You see, there's a port here, and there's two more ports. So we don't have to adjust that today, but we do want to see it come in, and we want to see it spin later on. So we definitely have power to this wire, and now it could be getting dragged down by this, right? This here. So there could be an issue there. So I'm going to blow it out, and I'm going to spray it just to get any junk off. I'm going to spray it, go get a rag, spray it with some brake cleaner, try to get that off, and then we're going to put in a little bit of my Alumabrite, and we'll see what happens. So let's just start off with cleaning the connectors. Because you can't, you have to have the dirt and the grease off of them in order for the Alumabrite to work. All right. And sometimes I can even just stick this little brush, acid brush in there, and that's good. Now we'll blow them out. That one looks pretty clean. It's the other one that looks dirty. So we're just going to give this a few minutes. Five, 10 minutes, and then we'll blow that off. All right, now we'll come back. I'm going to go find something else to do. Not like that there isn't anything else to do. I think what I'm going to work on for right now is, since I'm pretty happy with this setup here, I'd like to tape this down a little bit more. So I think that's what I'm going to work on while I'm waiting for that acid to do its job. Now, Alumabrite is what I use on those connectors. I don't use the other acid. It's too harsh. It's not the right thing for it. So I'm going to try and tape this up a little bit more and see how I want to treat it. You got to make sure that the ends seal. And generally it helps too to have your hands clean, so I might go do that. You know, we'll put it where we can. It just looks cleaner and there's a little bit more of abrasion resistance. Again, like this is a test port. I think the bottom row is, in the diagram, the bottom row is positive. The top row is negative. I don't know what that does for you. They might have a reader or something that they use. Yeah, that's good enough. Now let's pull it around. You have to pull it kind of tight to get it to stick. And you gotta lay it kind of flat as you can. Then if you don't want it to ever come off, really the only way, because it will unravel. So there's no really good way to do that other than to take a tie wrap or something and put it around it. So you could put one around here, which will keep it from trying to unravel. I think this was the last step. All right, that goes there. And again, I sprayed these already, so they should be fine. Another thing you could use too is white lube spray. Let's see if we could get it around here. Sometimes you can't because you can't get the tape to go. You know, the spool of the tape is too big, so you have to cut it in pieces. And that can suck sometimes. It won't come off. All right, and then a little bit of chain wax. And we're just going to put it together. We're probably going to take it apart again. So we're not going to try to push it in all the way to the stop, but that should be enough. Now I'm going to turn the switch off. All right, turn the key on. And let's listen. Yep, it's working. Okay, so that's done. So, you know, this is what happens when you clean things up, right? Sometimes you disrupt stuff and it breaks, and sometimes you get it going. So we heard it come in. So I'm going to clean up this wiring here and figure out how I want to do it. And we also need to check to figure out what's going on with the bulbs. So we see we got some chintzy wiring in here. Remove whatever's garbage and we'll retape. Best way to clean off this nonsense is, see, that was garbage, is a little bit of your, this is great electrical cleaner. Brake cleaner is like a lot like contact cleaner, as far as I can smell. I mean, the track is pretty clean. Yeah, see? Yeah, I can tell you right now. See that? They just twisted the wire together. Okay. All right, so we have a couple of options here. So this is black, looks like ground. So that's a problem. All right, so let's get rid of all of this tape. Get rid of all of it, and we'll retape it, and we're also going to put some heat shrink on this too, in a proper connector. Yep, bare wire. Yeah, so we're going to put heat shrink over that. Maybe they were testing or something. So let me go get some heat shrink. We'll heat shrink this wire here, and we may even want to cut it and bring new up to here, but we'll see. I don't think we have to. Let's get all this gack off. And I'll come back in a minute and I'll show you how I'm going to set it up. Okay, so I went a little bit further. So we've got this taped off, but as I see here now, right, this is good, but this connector, not an issue, right? This comes up to here. So that's not an issue. But this is the other power for the light switch, or excuse me, the lights going to the switch, front headlights. And I took this connector off. This is all borked, but this has been melted. It was really bad. And then these wires are all chafed. So this has probably been arcing and causing issues. What am I going to use for a connector? Well, I got the bright idea lately of a lot of the Craftsmans and Toros and everything. A lot of these have electric start, and I've never done an electric start on a lawnmower, like a restore, because the batteries cost money and it's just usually not worth it, right? So I started saving the connectors, and if you look at this, right, this is from one, this is from another. I have another piece that's got some shorter wires, but these wires are nice and long. We'll cut them, we'll leave a little bit of excess in case I need these connectors. These are blade style. So we're going to cut this off of here, this off of here. They're in beautiful shape. They're weather tight, right? So they're not going to have an issue. And I'm going to mount one, obviously, here, right, to replace. So we only need one side for here. Right, so the way it works is then there's a ground which is mounted all the way over there. So we're going to create a new ground, I think. Let me see how I want to do it. Maybe we'll go with a better ground than that and do a green wire. I know green in my world is ground, so that would help me identify it. So I'm going to finish this up, splice into here with some new stuff. Like I said, this one we're going to leave because it's going to come around this way. And I think we're going to pass it back behind this ground cable that's down here too, this nice ground ribbon, and this way we can kind of bury it in here. I may even want to drill through the frame or something and put a strain relief connector back in here, because it's been hitting, right, as this is getting wobbly, it's been coming back and it's been abrading, so she shouldn't be sticking out like that. And it definitely needs to come down from the bottom because you have all the hot stuff up here. So I'm going to go try to work on that now, and I'll bring you in for the update on it.
20 minutes later.
All right, so a little change in the wiring. Instead of tying into the motor stud there, which is kind of weird anyway, because they're trying to put that on some type of a rubber isolator. And by the way, the isolator is actually kind of missing. The rubber bushing is missing. So we have a ground stud here. We could have gone to that too, but why disrupt that? If anything, we want to take that apart and clean it. So I just drilled number 28 drill, 29 drill, 832. I put that in there. It's a stainless style screw. And we're going to tape this in, run this all the way up to the front, right? And then we're going to tie in, we'll tie in that nice connector. So let's take this off, right? And this off. I can't use that now. So let me work on that now. And that way we have a common ground point. We carry the ground forward to here, and then we just have to figure out which one's the ground. But we don't even have to finish this yet. We could just make this right so that we can tie into here, and then we can take this harness out and work on that separate. I have a nice little tool here that allows you to do butt splices, right? I decided to, because they're different wire gauges, that splicing something would be better, soldering it. It's more secure connection, because they are different sizes, so you're going to have a hard time trying to get a crimp on that. Oh yeah. I like the acid too. That's good. Okay, we'll let that cool. I'll put the heat shrink over it, and I'll move to the next part, which is this wire. So, and I'll show you. Take my sponge, cool it a little bit, and remove the extra acid, because you don't want to leave the acid on, especially buried underneath a heat shrink. So you can see here, this tool helps you to do a butt splice. So you just kind of splay them out a little bit, and then put the fibers together, the strands, right? So what I wanted to say, now this is the positive. This is it's hot when the light switch is on, and you want it insulated, okay? Because if this was hanging here, right, you wouldn't want this one because it could touch ground and short. So you want the insulated one. Now this one goes to ground, okay? So we'll do this one next. Let's get this set up. about there. Good. Now we have a breakout about here. All right, so when we're going to kind of break out, in other words, this piece here, this wire here, has to break out right about here, right about where we are right now. So we want to actually see if we can get, now I probably should have put another piece of shrink on that, but we might be able to get a bigger piece of heat shrink over this whole thing and create a breakout. But before we do that, we'll bring our tape up just that much further to the breakout point. This is where we're going to stop, back up a little bit, get it nice and flat. Now I'm going to go see if I have a big piece of heat shrink to get over all this, which I think I do. So I slid this in here, all right, and that's going to cover us. We can kind of make the transition there and also cap off the tape. We're going to put this here, that's soldered nice, right? Here's our breakout, and then I'll solder this, and if I want to add another piece, I think I can slide it underneath this, and then we can basically just heat everything up, and we'll be good to go. Well, let me make sure I'm getting this in the right spot. I never seem to get this right. That should do it. Close enough. And we'll test it. So you tape it first, and then I slipped on the heat shrink there. So here's our breakout. And then we'll go like that. We'll just bring it to about here-ish. Right? That'll be our breakout. But this is tight and secure. And certainly weather tight for the most part. And chafe resistant. And once you're done with it, that's it. You can forget about it. And also this tape, the shrink covers over the tape, so the ends won't fray out on you. That's good. Now I'll probably put one more right in this area here to terminate the end, right? And now we have this. Now we're going to put one more piece there, and then we'll test it. Okay, so we'll clamp our cheesy little test light, which is all we need for something like this. And we'll turn, we got lights, we should have lights on now, I think. So this will be ground, right? You won't see anything. I don't think we're getting anything. Is the lights back this way? Yeah, see, that's the lights, right? And we can test this. Okay, let's put the switch off. So this is our circuit that goes to the PTO, all right? So we're done here. Now, I have to go try to rescue the section front underneath the bonnet. And we'll finish that up hopefully tonight. If not, I'll finish it tomorrow, but I can get started on it. So I can reach in there and deal with that. Okay, so whenever we do splices, I like to stagger the joints, right? So I got a joint here and I got a joint here. And that's just the standard practice. Because if you have the two together, number one, it's going to bunch up, right? So you're going to have a big bulge, which is just ugly. And also you have the chance that you could have a short there. It's small, but, you know, when I worked in aviation and, you know, we used to have this thing called MEPS, Method, Engineering, and Practices. And you establish standards, and you adhere to those standards, and that's what you do. And stuff comes out good, comes out better. Okay, now I removed the whole section here. In fact, I shortened it, and it was abraded and broken and maybe even brittle. I don't know, probably from heat. The hood shutting down on it. So what we want to do now is, before I put these on, letting it cool a little bit, we want to, by shortening it too, I think it's going to be better off, right? Yep, we have lights. And I have the one light. Okay? So I'm going to finish this up, and we're going to figure out why I only have one light. Same procedure. I wrapped it with tape and shrank the ends down. And we stuck it back through the hole here where there's a grommet. Plug it in. Now, if you want, you could put, that's sealed, but if you want, you could put some chain wax on it. Right? So, what we'll do, nice amount of chain wax. Nice bright connectors, right? It's all strain relief, right? So that's where we can actually keep it just like that, and it stays out of the way of out of everything. And now we're going to do this one. Put a little chain wax in that. I think I did already, but just in case we didn't, yeah, I think I did. Now I can figure out why we only have one light. It's probably got a bad bulb. So now that's all done, right? And as we close the hood, right, it shouldn't go near anything. You see, it's a little too close. Okay, so I want to put something here, right? So that's what we're going to work on next, but it's perfect otherwise. So we'll probably drill a hole and put a little strain relief right here. And that'll keep everything nice and neat. But you could see it's looking good so far. So we'll be back in a second. Well, it'll be a second to you. But it'll probably be a couple minutes to me. I gotta go find a nice piece. And I think I'm done with the soldering iron right now, so I can clean up a little bit. Now here we're just going to take a simple cable clamp. I've already drilled the hole. Right, let's get rid of some of the debris. Let's tighten it up. Now there is a panel that goes here, but this little head of the screw will not be in the way. That is not a big issue. That's tight. All right, voila. Okay. Now it should stay out of the way of the belts. The belt isn't there anyway, but as we close it, right? See? It's perfect. If you wanted to, you could shove that in that hole a little bit more. Absolutely stays out of the way of everything. Not a problem. All right, I can't figure out how to get to the headlights. Check it out, guys. So the switch died. That's the one that's still in there. And I rigged this up, right? So when you turn the key on, which it was able to turn the key on, right? You could. That's the new switch. I'll put that in a little bit. You know, she's over here in the corner, so I'm working on some other stuff. So basically, once it's on, see. But now we have. Can I do it? See? Yay! So that's awesome. It feels really nice when you turn it. It has a nice boot, a nice key, and when you push the blades in, yeah, it's hard to push on. Like, they really positively engage. So that's solved. That was another issue I had. And here's one of the keys. Most of these keys are the same. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. Electrical work, and we have more electrical stuff to do, but I think that encompasses it for now. And I've got some other things going on with the tractor, so stay tuned next time for, more cool stuff. You'll see what I'm up to.